Hello everyone. So in this video, I'm going to be making a mall. Um, I'm going to use the main mall from the new DLC as the base, but then adding additional things from the workshop to it to make it more comprehensive, I guess. Um, Everything I'm going to be using, or at least all of the assets themselves, the physical ones, are going to be in a collection that I'll link below. And if it's not linked below, I'll at least have the title of it below. And towards the end of the video, I'm going to go into more of like a walkthrough and explain sort of the different pieces and stuff that I've added, even some things that I've done off camera. Um, Also, if you have any questions or any clarification or anything, don't hesitate to reach out to me on Instagram. You can DM me there, or you can leave a comment below this video. Um, and my username is the same across all platforms: on Instagram, on Steam, obviously on YouTube. Um, yeah, feel free to slow the video down if you need to, or speed it up, whatever works for you. But yeah, enjoy. Okay, so I'm just gonna do just a little walkthrough explanation of everything now that the sort of sped up version is done. So first I'll just zoom out to the region to sort of show where this mall is placed a little bit more. You see these sort of two metro areas here. This one, being more beachy, this one being more inland. They already have their own shopping centers. So it was difficult to find a place to put this that seemed to make sense, but I think this will do. A walkthrough of the mall and some explanations of some of the things that I added off camera later and stuff. So, first I of course just started with the base mall without any additions, and then just started to attach these department stores to its sides, like you'd see in real life. I just chose ones that I had. Nothing. I guess the only thing I did make sure is that they seem to have a color scheme and sort of design that meshed well with the existing mall. There's some department stores in the workshop that are older, sort of have like a darker brick facade and stuff like that, and those don't really match as well as these white stone or whatever ones. So yeah, I started with Bloomingdale's here, and then Dillard's, and these are each actual commercial assets too. They're not entertainment. And then here I have the quintessential Macy's, also commercial. In the back side, I chose to put this theater here because a lot of malls have theaters attached to them, and I sort of like this one here, the way it's designed. And it is just a modern movie theater. And I did add onto the sides here these doors because they didn't have enough doors, so I just wanted to look just a little bit more realistic. And I also gave it its own garage. A lot of the malls that I've been to in the US, not all of them have a dedicated garage for a movie theater, but they usually have a garage that's a little bit closer to the theater, simply because some people just go to the mall just to go to the movies, so it sort of handles that capacity. And this is also part of it's not part of the mall CCP or DLC, it's part of the upgrade, so this should be available for free, if I'm not mistaken. And this is a Skyline Mall asset. Probably what most people who play this game and try to build malls, they usually use these assets. This is from that. And they have it as a wing, but I chose to use it as a department store. So this is actually entertainment or tourism. It's not a commercial asset. And I just threw the Nordstrom sign on there, and then gave it some doors as well. It has some doors on one side, but I gave it doors on both sides, and some decorations. And of course, there are other, just to show real quick, I don't know all of them, but I've been doing this a while, so I kind of have some memorized, I think. Nope, that's wrong. There's other ones like Hudson Bay that you can use, and then JCPenney, and then Macy's, and then some other stores I'm not as familiar with, like Penny's, and of course people know Sears, but I don't think that Sears is in business anymore, so it'd be weird to put that there. And of course, if you look at the workshop, it's possible to sort of create your own department store by using some other sign prop and just pretending like it's a store. You don't have to use those. Like I think that you could make one called Centra if you wanted to, or Woody's department store. Along with that, I also chose these signage here, just sort of this sort of outdoor spots. You have some Tom Ford, Urban Decay, Irwin's, Tiffany's, and this is vanilla. But the rest of these I just found in the workshop. And you can just go to the workshop and type in these names, or just type in signs, and then filter by prop, sort by most popular, find a lot of these. So while over here too, I added some of these tables here. I took what was originally here, which was an actual building, and I just replaced it with decals that have the same pattern, and then use these prop planters and trees and stuff just to give it that sort of like an outdoor use type of space. And then just by chance, I had already planned to put the monorail somewhere near here, but I sort of like how the mall hides the end of it, because, you know, if you look at the end of most of the monorail stations, they just sort of have like this little piece right here hanging off. So I kind of like that it sort of looks like it's sort of built into the mall. And next to that, I put add some outdoor seating up top of here, and then put the Vapiano on the side, which is a restaurant, just to add more restaurant space. So you can, you know, imagine that people can come here and eat and go upstairs and downstairs and stuff. And I also, all these things here are props too, just to make sure it had windows, because before without this, it's just a blank wall. I think it looks better like that. Of course, Starbucks signs, and I added Starbucks umbrellas and chairs, because, you know, I think every mall has a Starbucks. And then this is all just part of the vanilla game. And then these, I have to look and see what these are called. I think I can find it. Yeah, there's a whole bunch of these JPSM. And if you couldn't tell from the live play or whatever, the time lapse, they're double-sided, so you can use either side, and they have all these different options. It's like a mix. I think it's probably more Asian in its origin. I'm not sure what language that is. But stores like Muji and Uniqlo, H&M, you know, those exist in Europe and the United States too. So Burger King, obviously. But I like to use these. They're nice options. And you can see that I also use them here to sort of illustrate these two stores, just made up stores. And also I threw the Zara sign right here, so that this is sort of like an entrance for that store if they want. And then I did change this off camera, and then I sort of put it back. So I just felt like I needed more restaurant space out front, so I kept that same facade, but then I just took the California Pizza Kitchen and just sort of placed it in there. And this is just a commercial asset that's easy to find if you search for California Pizza Kitchen. Yeah, I think that works. And of course, you have the Cheesecake Factory, and I have some outdoor seating adjacent to it as well. And I tried to make the ones that I placed these here match what was already there. So this is part of the asset, and I added those. And then also added an entrance here with the prop door. And then a little bit of decals. This is not a decal. This is, it's hard to click on because there's so much on top of it, but this is the actual a building. I think it's called a park. More props here, little planters and trees, just to add more decoration stuff. And I chose to put, I just feel like having a roundabout, you have to have something in the middle. It just looks right. So I chose this. These are really great assets too. I use these consistently. I think almost since I started playing this game, actually, years ago. I've always used this for different things. There's a whole entire collection of these, just called roundabout parks. And they have a lot of different options and different sizes and stuff that can go in different styles of roundabouts. And of course, you can use BOB, as you probably saw, to remove certain parts of the asset if you want it to look more or less decorative. Because I think, yeah, just some of these have a lot of decoration on them, and you can easily remove those if you use this BOB mod. And I'm gonna keep this open and green. I sort of like the idea of, you know, people driving up here and, you know, seeing this ornate signage and stuff. Along with that, I chose these planter networks just to have like a nice sort of decorative green entrance. And then here I chose to just, this is commercial assets that are part of the mall's CCP DLC thing too. I just sort of put two together back to back, to sort of create like this restaurant type deal or something, or maybe just something that seems like it fits in here, especially because this is more of like a outdoorsy, tropical, sort of Miami-ish kind of vibe. So I think it makes sense there. These parking lots here are just JK parking, and I use that creator's assets a lot too. So like this JK, this is JK, this right here is JK, and the decals that have that same sort of pattern are also by that creator. I think it's Reaper actually in the workshop, but of course I'll have all of these things into a collection that I'll link below, or at least title below for you to find. Unless they're Patreon assets, and I don't think anything in this build is a Patreon asset, so everything should be available. I don't plan to keep this, but I just wanted to fill this space. I don't feel like this really fits in here. It's sort of odd, but I just, in the game it's hard to like find things to fit, especially on curves that just sort of make sense. So I'll probably remove this and replace it with likely like a series of restaurants or something. I'm not sure yet though. Maybe more parking, but probably not. And not too much over here. I did add this small door here for the Macy's. It's just kind of unnecessary, but it just seems like, department stores need more than one entrance, or else it just doesn't make sense. And this is, let me see. I can find it. This. Yeah, it just says entry door. That's super vague. I have no idea where it came from. I see King Leno's logo on there, so I'm going to assume that it's attached to one of his assets or her assets. Well, I assume it's a he because it's King, but yeah, that person's assets. And then I threw a little Black Angus over here with a little signage. Nothing too fancy. Malls often have restaurants adjacent to them or attached to them, so I think that makes sense. I sort of tried to make this entrance too look a little bit more decorative, because I guess either this one or this one would be like the secondary entrance or like the back entrance, since this is like just by its design you can see that it's like the secondary main entrance to the mall. Yeah, and I probably could put another restaurant or something here, but I think that's good enough. Yeah, don't need more than that. I just threw this taxi stand here just because I just wanted to fill this space. Yeah, I've never seen any sim person ever use a taxi stand. I don't even know what they're for, but yeah, there it is. And then of course this entrance here with Nordstrom, the same sort of the prop there, but I added some greenery and stuff. These are just random commercial assets. This is from the DLC. But this is from, I think, Green Cities DLC. This is from the mall one. I tried to keep this sort of theming throughout a little bit with entrances that face the main road. So you have it there, and you have it here too. For here, I put this, like, I sort of liked how this space was like oddly shaped, so I wanted to pick buildings that sort of had like a design that's sort of to some extent contoured to the shape of this, I guess, little island or whatever. So I chose this Vips and I just put them back to back to make it look larger, and then added some minimal greenery here and props and plants and stuff, and also tables and chairs, and I made sure the umbrellas matched the color of the roof of the Vips. And I also added my quintessential prop doors here just because it didn't have doors. Yeah, I think it's a nice little touch. And then here, this is from the DLC or CCP. I'm just gonna call it DLC for simplicity, but yeah, it's just a random restaurant. I don't think I can really fit any signage on this, so I think it's fine as like a vague vanilla type asset. And then here's another thing from the roundabout parks, just in the center there. I think it fits pretty well. And I guess the only other thing is I sort of
probably some point in the future I'll make this more decorative. I don't think I'm gonna put anything here because I sort of like that in the future I'll probably put an actually walkable interactive park here, and that it just sort of integrates into whatever goes in these two spots, which will probably be like commercial and then high density retail. Actually, thinking of it, I think that in real life, the inspiration for this somewhat, at least where it sits geographically, is Sawgrass Mills in the Miami metro area. And I believe they have an IKEA next to that. So I think an IKEA would be like probably a good fit here, maybe. But yeah, some other big box stores, and I'll probably rearrange this. Again, I might have described it at the beginning of the video, but I was not planning on putting anything this size here. This city is not done, but it's more than halfway done. So I already sort of built the malls and the major shopping centers and stuff. And this is all just going to be suburban homes, sort of like fading into this wetlands. But I wanted to put this asset down and see what it looked like. So, there it is. And it's interesting because it does actually sort of, if you go on the map and look at where Sawgrass Mills is in Florida, like almost right next to it, there's just the swamp, the Everglades, a national park. So it sort of just conveniently fits with this, with this particular design. I do want to show, I think, one more thing, just something that I noticed as I was building. I guess I didn't really build a road. Let's see if I can demonstrate this. I guess I didn't need to actually build this, but just in case you want a refresher to what the building looks like by itself, that's it. And it sort of has a design that does seem like it's naturally, the creators of this were probably intending people to attach stuff here and here because it does look like it's suited for that. Yeah. And just in general, I think this is a pretty good asset because you could, attach like a Target asset or a Walmart asset to this mall and make it less of like a traditional mall, maybe more of like a converted mall or something, or even attach a hotel or something to this to sort of fit a certain style. But that's not what I wanted to show. Instead, it's this. So I did this off camera. I noticed that guys, it takes a while. Some of the props in this thing were off center. I removed a lot of them already, but I'm trying to go back to the bench if I can find it. Too lazy to read. There we go. So you can see I adjusted the X of this. So if I were to set it back to where it was, it's way over here. That's weird. I have no idea why. I thought it was something that I did, but oops, no, I got that. So there's a little note that if you run into this too, which I assume other people will, you can just set the offset to -8.6 and it fixes it. There are other ones too. I'll bring these tables back just to demonstrate, but yeah, if I set the tables back to where they were, they are right there and right there, which obviously is wrong because, the tables are meant to sit under these or closer to the facades. So even if I do the -8.6, I keep on forgetting to click on it. This one, there we go. Yeah, you can see they go back to where it would make more sense. So it's interesting. I don't know why it's like that. And it's the same for a lot of these props. You can even see it, I guess, with the potter plant. They're not where they're supposed to be. But just an interesting observation. It's not a big deal. But yes, that's it. I think I will add more to this, but I think it was a good stopping point for just getting the mall itself done. It's a really cool asset, I think. It's very flexible, at least to me. So I think there's a lot you can do with it. You know, you can make this into a very high-end looking mall. You could make it a more run-down looking mall if you wanted to attach abandoned stores. You can make it into a converted mall, or just one of those malls that has like a Target and a medical center attached, you know, whatever. So I think that's pretty cool. But yeah, I plan to put this collection into the workshop so you can find pretty much all of this. Of course, the things that are not Patreon assets. I don't think any of these are Patreon assets. And also, I'm not going to put in the trees because I use a lot of trees. And most of them, well, I don't know, some of them are stock, some of them are not, or vanilla. So yeah, that's it. Thanks for watching. If you have any questions, DM me or on Instagram or leave a comment. And that's it. Thanks for watching.